Good day everyone, I am Crystal Joyce and today we're gonna discuss about the modernization theory. So first, what is modernization theory? Modernization theory, it is a description and explanation of a linear process countries can make through economic development. It's defined as the sociological theory stating that societies will inevitably change in positive, progressive ways over the course of their existence. The general structure of modernization theory states that all societies progress over time from one stage to another. The ultimate goal of all societies will be to become a modern or post-modern society. Developing stages include tradition society. So, Walt Whitman Rostow was an economic who developed a theory of how a country economy develops and grows, and in 1960 he took a crack at addressing these issues in his book The Stages of Economic Growth. Rousseau argued that the economies of all countries could be placed within one of five different stages of economic growth. So, based kay Walt Whitman Rostow, there was a five economic growths. What is the five economic growth? First is the traditional society. Second, preconditions for takeoff. Third is a takeoff. Five is drive to maturity, and is drive to maturity, and five is age of mass consumption. So, what is the traditional society means? Traditional society means is this stage characterized by the subsistent agriculture-based economy with intensive labor and low levels of trading and a population that does not have a scientific perspective on the world and technology. The first stage is focus on the most basic of economic activities, such as farming and extraction industries like mining and harvesting of timber. The labor force is a pretty much completely unskilled and scientific and technological. Development is primitive. Rostow believes that traditional economies are generally unproductive. So Rostow believe nga ang traditional society is the most basic nga economic activities. So second is the precondition to take off. Here, a society begins to develop manufacturing and the more national, international as opposed to regional outlook. So, ang precondition by Rostow is referred to a precondition to take off is the this stage, science and technology start to progress, which aids in economic productivity. The savings caused by increased productivity are saved and invested in other areas, including technology and infrastructure like roads, bridges, and harbors. Mura ang precondition to take off is the the start to progress ang precondition to take off. Okay. Third is ang take off. Rostow describes this stage as a short period of intensive growth in which industrialization begins to occur and workers and institutions become concentrated around a new industry. So, Rooster third stage is known as takeoff. In this stage, a handful of key new industries start to emerge in the national economy that help drive further economic growth. For example, the development of steel industry may drive growth in an economy with ready access to iron. At this stage, he also claims that economic growth becomes the normal stage of the economy. He also believed that this economic growth becomes self-sustaining at this point in development. Hamura ang take off. Fourth, drive to maturity is this stage take place over a long period of time as a standard of living rised. use of technology increases, and the national economy grows and diversifies. The first stage is known as the drive to maturity. This stage is about the diversification and expansion. The economy in this stage of growth will be developing new and more supplicated industries. For example, an economy going from producing steel and timber products to producing consumer electronics and computer chips and drive to maturity stage. In other words, the economy moves beyond the key bread the butter industries that foiled it take off into more diverse and dynamic economic system. The workforce can become more skilled due to the technological demands of the emerging industries. Moreover, economies at this stage become less dependent upon import as their emerging industries can compete with them. The last stage is the age of high mass consumption. At the time writing, Rosa believed that Western countries, most notably at United States, occupy this last developed stage. Here, a country economic flourishes in a capital system characterized by mass production and consumption countries. In this stage, offering a simplified path of progress, it is advantage include clarity and historical applicability, while disadvantage highlight oversimplification, the neglect of external influence, and geographic differences. The model serves as a useful but limited tool for understanding economic growth. So that's all are the five economic growth by Rosto. Okay, recap kita. What is the five economic stages of economic development? First is traditional society. Second is precondition for take-off. Third is take-off. And five is drive to maturity. And four is drive to maturity. And five is age of mass consumption. So, move on kita rito. So, discuss kita sa criticism of the modernization. Much of criticism modernization theory has gained stems from the proponent of dependency theory who blamed the colonial powers rather than backward custom for the poverty that inflict the third world by Hike 1985. They argue that this unequal relationship is preserved by the purported exploitation which world trade embraces the export of new material to the developed world from the third world and the importation of manufactured goods from the advanced economies to developing ones. They contend serve as a safeguard this imbalance. So, the advantage of Rosto model is Rosto models identifies five distinct. Amo dyan ang advantage na stage of economic growth, making it easy to understand and apply to different countries. Rosto model emphasizes the importance of investment and savings in promoting economic growth. Rosto model recognizes that technological advance play a key role in economic growth. So, the disadvantage of Rosto model is primarily focused on developed countries and may not be as applicable to developing countries. The model's five stages of economic growth may not fully capture the complexity of the growth processes. The Rosso model does not take into account external factoring such as globalization, trade policies, and natural resources that can affect the country economic growth. The Rosso model assumes that economic growth occurs in linear progression through stages. But in reality, this may not always be the case. Rosso model does not take into account the role of government and institution in promoting economic growth. So, amo to ang modernization theory and five stages of Rosso model, the five stages of economic growth. Moreover, the modernization theory is the modernization theory tradition are more qualitative by making interesting use of case study. Ang modernization theory is gamitin natin, pwede natin tala magamit sa ating research through qualitative by making interesting use of case study, research, and analyzing environmental reform and further building theory. Limited quantitative research has been done up till now to test the central tenets laid down in ecological. So, ang modernization theory is magamit natin tara sa research under qualitative research. So, Amorenra, and then next, the conclusion of modernization theories. Modernization theories emphasize the importance of economic growth as a key driver of development. This has been influential in shaping policies that focus on industrialization, infrastructure development, and economic liberalization. So that's all for today's topic, and thank you for listening. See you.